In the year 2013, I released a video about Captain Underpants. I went into the history, I went into some of the books, I made a big tribute video to a book series that had a huge impact on me when I was a child. In the video, I mentioned that DreamWorks was in the development stages of making an animation feature, a full-length animated movie. And well, finally, this year, 2017, same weekend as Wonder Woman, Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, came out, released by DreamWorks. It was probably, I don't know how good of an idea it was to release it at the same time as Wonder Woman, but you know, they still made plenty of money. It didn't have that big of a budget either, and for as small of a budget as it had, it was really good. I mean, animation-wise, it kind of had the same look and feel of the Peanuts movie, if you saw that. Kind of like, it's inspired by 2D animation, kind of almost looks 2D, but it's also 3D animation, so it's a really good mix. It has a really good look to it. When I made that video, these two books right here, The Tyrannical Retaliation of the Turbo Toilet 2000, that has a really crazy long name, and The Sensational Saga of Sir Stinks-A-Lot, both of these books weren't out yet. I only got up to, which book is this? The 11th? So we only got up to the 10th book. There was a long hiatus between the 8th book and the 9th book. I went into detail about that. There was about, God, I want to say it went like 6 years without another book. 6 years, yeah, that sounds about right. Forgot that actually in this one. In the end, Professor Poopy Pants, well, I guess he's called Tippy Tinkle Trousers at that point. He ends up actually dying in this book along with Sulu the hamster and Crackers the pterodactyl. Wow, these are some weird names. Yeah, but they end up dying in that book. And then in this book, they end up finding out that there's like a basket of eggs that they laid, and then they also have to fight the Turbo Toilet 2000 again. Also, Melvin reappears in this one. This time he's got like some octopus suit. So this one was a really good one. This one really went back to, rather than being like a nostalgic throwback like the 9th book was, the 10th and this book really did kind of go back to how the series originally was, with really wacky antics, really weird jokes. That was the thing. It always just had really good fourth wall jokes, really inventive jokes. Most of them I can't even explain. You just have to read them. I think, though, that these books were made really for younger people to enjoy, but also for the older fans to enjoy. And apparently this is the final book in the series, because if you read the ending, I would say that, yeah, it's probably the last book. I really enjoyed this one too. At some point you find out, I don't know which one it was, either George or Harold end up being gay when they go into the future. So I heard that there was actually some uproars at schools about that, and they had to ban the book or something. People, right? But yeah, this was a good one, and it looks like that the series is done. I know they're still making a new book called Dogman, which is a comic book that George and Harold wrote. I know he's got some other things going on, but Dave Pilkey, he's definitely, he's gotten a lot done in the last couple years, and I've been really happy. It really did fulfill kind of that last childhood dream I had of mine, to finally see Captain Underpants, you know, be done, you know, to continue the story and then to finally end it. And then the newest dream was for there to be a full-length animated film, and they finally got it done. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really, it was good characters. The voice acting was really well done, which kind of freaked me out because you had Kevin Hart playing George, which I'm not a big Kevin Hart fan, so I was kind of nervous about, oh man, I'm gonna have to listen to that voice throughout the whole movie. But no, it ended up working really well. He actually does a really good job. He really plays off this idea that he's playing a 4th grader. You know, you got like a 30-year-old man playing a 4th grader. How's that gonna work out? Well, they make it work. You know, and then you also have Ed Helms playing Mr. Krupp, or / Captain Underpants, which was another one that I was like, I don't know about these choices, that's going to stick out like a sore thumb. But, no, it really worked out well. He does a good job. Whoever they got to play Harold did an especially good job. I wish I knew the name at the moment. Thomas Middleditch. Alright, he played Harold, and I thought he did a spectacular job. You also had Nick Kroll playing Professor Poopy Pants, and he does a good job. You know, he plays off this really psychotic, evil, and just sort of silly villain. But they kind of changed his character because in the book, he invents the shrinking ray and the ray that, you know, the enlarging ray. He creates those in order to help with world hunger and to help with dwindling down the garbage that's on our planet, you know, the landfills and everything. He's trying to find a way to fix both problems at once. The only thing is that everyone laughs at his name, so that kind of messes things up. Even though he's creating these amazing inventions, everyone laughs at his, you know, really silly name. But in the movie, they kind of change it to where he basically is a bad guy and he's only making these innovations for himself. He's all in it for himself. And then when they laugh at his name, he ends up using the ray against the people. So they kind of changed his villain simply to be more evil, I guess. That's what it sort of felt like. Because in the book, he's a little more sympathetic in a way. The Turbo Toilet 2000 also shows up, but it's not like he's his own thing. It's actually something that Melvin creates, and then Professor Poopy Pants enlarges into like a really huge giant robot. And then that ends up being the Turbo Toilet 2000, which Professor Poopy Pants controls, so he's not his own thing. How many times am I going to have to say Professor Poopy Pants? Weird changes here and there, but it all works out because if you want to get a number of villains in the movie, you got to do this. There's this really funny scene where Harold is telling this story through sock puppets, which I just thought was really hilarious. You know, they get a lot of good fourth wall jokes in there too. Well, they also get the Flip-O-Rama in there, which I thought was really excellent. I didn't know how they were going to do Flip-O-Rama, but they ended up getting it down. I thought it was done really well. I thought it was really funny. This movie has really good pacing. Maybe almost a little too fast. Like, it could have maybe slowed down a bit. But, you know, it's got to be an animated kids movie. That's got to be an hour and I think 20 minutes long, and you can't have all these moments to, like, you can't take time, I guess. You got to just get it going, get the pace going. And don't get me wrong, the books are like that too, but in this movie you're basically cramming in 4 books. You're doing like the first 4 books basically. Oh, and he also finds a different way of finding his superpowers. He doesn't get, you know, the drinking juice, the superpower juice from the aliens. He instead just falls into this atomic waste that they found in the school cafeteria that is used to power the Turbo Toilet. Just weird stuff, but, you know, it matches the tone of the books. They also gave a love interest to Mr. Krupp, and they tried to make him a little more sympathetic than they did in the books. He's not all full out evil. They kind of give him a little more sympathy, which I thought was actually pretty smart, a smart thing to do. It was a pretty good job there. So overall, I really liked the movie. I love that addicting song that Weird Al Yankovic made for the movie. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the animation. I really enjoyed the jokes. I really enjoyed that it stuck to what the book's heart was and what the book's humor was like. And I just kind of hope that they make another one, because there's plenty of stuff to still get through. They could still introduce time travel like the 8th book brings in. You could do all that stuff still. So these, if they kept making movies, they can go all over the place. You know, maybe this will lead to an animated series, because they've been doing a lot of Netflix shows lately. They did a Spirit show, which I was like, does anyone even remember that? I do, because I saw that movie in theaters. But yeah, they're making all kinds of Netflix shows, even to movies that didn't do that well. So maybe that means Captain Underpants will be a 2D animated or 3D animated show on Netflix, and we can finally get all the books done. I'd be really interested in that. I think that would be a great way to, you know, do the books some justice. But this movie also did the books justice. It was great, and I'd recommend anyone to go see it. So, this is just a quick review from me. See you next time.